In this video, I'm going to share with you how to find deals for your investor clients that they want to purchase every time. Coming up right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to Freedom Agents. My name is Marc Brenner. I'm a realtor and team leader in Atlanta, Georgia. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. All I do is make videos about helping you sell more real estate and about how to become an investor to live a life of financial freedom. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about how to find deals for your real estate investor clients. Working with investors can be one of the most lucrative niches as a real estate agent, but if you're not careful, it can be a major time waster. So the information I'm going to share with you will hopefully save you from wasting a lot of time and also help you find deals that you can close while representing your investor client. So let's get right into it. All right, real quick, before I get into the video, if you're a new agent looking for a brokerage, or if you're an agent looking to make a change, we would love to hear from you. There are ways that we can partner together without you having to join our team, without you having to pay anything, and you can still get all the coaching and benefits that go along with being on my team. So if that's interesting to you, I want you to look in the description of this video and book a call with me using the Calendly link. Okay, so here we go. How to find deals for your real estate investor clients. Now, you've heard me talk about this before, but if you're not familiar with working with investors, it is a severely underutilized niche. There are simply not enough realtors who understand the goals of real estate investors and who can help them accomplish those goals. So if you can take the time to educate yourself and gain the experience required, you will have a lot of highly successful investors wanting to use you as their agent. Now, one of the coolest things of working with investors is that unlike residential real estate, where you are constantly trying to find a client and then put that client in a home or help them sell a home, with investors, they will buy as many deals as you can find. So if you get really good at finding deals that work for them, you could sell multiple properties to the same investor in the same year. You can have a pool of investors who are constantly buying all the deals that you can possibly find. Now, the flip side to that, the truth about working with investors is that it can be an extreme waste of your time. Now, I've gone through all this in the last few years. I'll tell you exactly what's gonna happen. Okay, you're gonna follow some of the tips that you get in my videos about attracting investor leads. I have an entire video about this, and you're gonna get really excited when an investor wants to talk to you. Now, I don't want you not to be excited, but just know if an investor wants to talk to you, it's not necessarily the same as someone who you know is going to be selling their house wanting to talk to you. Now, it could end up being a very lucrative lead, but you have to protect your time because here's what these people will do. Okay, especially, first of all, you'll get a lot of people who have never invested in real estate, a lot of first timers, right? Because who doesn't like the idea of investing in real estate? And so you're going to do your research, and what are you going to do? You're going to reach out to a real estate agent. Now, these people are going to basically drain you of every bit of information that they can get. They're going to want to know what the best places to buy in your market are. They're going to want to know about how they can utilize the BRRRR strategy to increase a portfolio with the same amount of capital. They're going to want to know about all of your contacts and resources in your area. And if you're not careful, you're going to pour out all this information to them and you're never going to hear from them again. Now, that may be because they decided to invest in another market. Maybe they never pulled the trigger on investing, but it's really important that you find the balance between being helpful, providing value, and really, in some sense, charging for your services. And when I say charging, you need to only be really devoting your time to people who have signed a brokerage agreement with you and investors that you believe will actually close deals with you in the near future. And I'm going to talk about how you can determine that. So first off, when an investor lead reaches out to you, you need to lead the conversation. When I started having these conversations, what I would do is let them ask a bunch of questions and I would answer. I would give them all the best information that I had accumulated in my experience. I don't suggest you do that. Of course, you want to be very professional in these meetings, but as soon as possible, I want you to take control of the meeting and tell them you're going to ask them a few questions to start, because in your experience, that's the most effective way to conduct the meeting. And the three things you need to ask them are as follows. Have you purchased any real estate investment deals? Have you done a deal before? Okay, you need to know if they're a newbie or they've actually closed deals. Second, are you pre-approved with a lender? Or if you're purchasing cash, do you have your proof of funds available? And three, if I brought you a great deal today, would you purchase it? Would you make an offer on it? Would you try to close on that deal? So these are the three questions that are going to determine how much output you give to this person. Now, I have to be honest with you. If the person tells you they've never purchased an investment property, they haven't spoken with a lender, and they're really not ready to pull the trigger if you brought them a good deal, maybe because they don't even know your market and they are not ready to pull the trigger on a deal that you potentially bring them, you should not really pour too much into them. In fact, you might want to tell them that you can't work with them at this time. Now, I know if you're a new agent and someone who's not closing deals, that's probably really scary. You don't want to turn down money. But the reality is these people are way too early in the stages to be worth your time and effort. A lot of investors you'll be speaking to from other states, and they're not even sure that your market is the one that they want to invest in. Now, let me just give you the most telltale investor that you should not waste your time with. It's someone who is completely unfamiliar with your market, right? So I'm in Atlanta. So this is an investor who they don't know anything about Atlanta, right? And so they want you to tell them all the up and coming areas of Atlanta that are going to be great to own real estate. And not only do they not know anything about your market, but they want to use the BRRRR strategy. They think that they're going to be able, on their first investment property, to finance an acquisition and a rehab, improve it, find a contractor that gives them a proper rehab estimate, does the work on time and in budget, and then they're going to refinance and pull their capital out and do it again and again. Listen, there's nothing wrong with those people. It's not that they're dumb. It's not that they're trying to deceive you, but these are people you should not waste your time with because they are too green. They don't know what they don't know. And I'm not saying that it's impossible for a first-time investor to accomplish that, but you have to understand the degree of difficulty with what their goals are. Now, contrast that with maybe someone who is local to your market and they're interested in house hacking. Now, this is someone that you want to spend more time with because their goals are way more realistic. House hacking is probably the best way for investors to break into real estate investing. So before you let them take over the meeting, make sure you ask these three questions. Think about what their goals are. Think about what the level of difficulty is going to be. And that should help you determine how much time, energy, and effort you're going to put into this lead going forward. Now, the types of investors that you do want to spend a lot of time with are as follows. So I just mentioned, newbies who are looking to house hack. I think for a person who's never purchased an investment property, they need to either be looking to house hack or they need to just be purchasing a long-term rental. Okay, if you get a newbie that's looking to BRRRR, if you get a newbie that's looking to Airbnb or do some kind of short-term rental, if you get a newbie that's trying to do multi-family or commercial properties in a different state and they've never done a deal, this is not a person you should waste your time with. So newbies, stick to house hacking and long-term rentals. Now for experienced people, if they answered yes to your questions, they have bought deals, they are pre-approved or have proof of funds, and they are ready to pull the trigger on a deal, these are the people that you want to focus on. Now, it's not good enough that you know this. What you need to do is find out exactly what they've purchased in the past. Hopefully, it's in your market. Ideally, they're a local investor or they're an investor who has purchased deals in your market before. If so, you need to identify what they purchased, where they found it, and what their exit strategy was. Okay, you need to get all the information you can about that deal, down to the location, the type of property, the size, the condition that it was in, the rehab that went into it, who did the rehab. Okay, because what you're going to try to do is just replicate this. This is the magic of what I'm telling you. Okay, the easiest way to close deals for investors is to find them something identical to what they've already purchased and something that they already like as an investment. Because the reality is, one of the biggest challenges of finding a great deal for your investor clients is too general of a criteria, right? People who don't know anything about Atlanta, if we search all around the city, the search is way harder. It's way less likely that we're going to find a great deal. We're sifting through hundreds of properties, and this is something, again, this is what newbies will tell you. They don't know what they want. They just want a good deal. They don't even know what a good deal looks like. So these are people that you should not spend a lot of time with. But when you have the information for a deal that has worked for a client in the past, you can just find the same thing in that area, or maybe it's a slightly different area, the same property type, or maybe it's the same area but a slightly different property type, right? It doesn't have to be identical, but this is going to be your foundation for how you go about finding a deal for them. Now, at this point, when you have one or multiple investors who have closed deals, they're ready to go, and they gave you examples of what they've purchased before, this is a great time to have a spreadsheet, Excel or Google Sheets, the name, the budget, the location, the property type, the property condition, the strategy, the exit strategy, the acquisition strategy, because if you're doing the things that I'm showing you in the videos, you're going to have multiple investors, and you're going to want to create a daily routine of looking for deals, and you're going to need to refer to this spreadsheet to know what to look for. All right, now we can get into the nitty gritty. So we've already eliminated a bunch of, looky-loos, a bunch of investors who are high risk for wasting our time. We've got a core group of investors who have purchased in our area before, who are ready to go if they find a similar deal. We've got a spreadsheet that we're referencing. How do you source the deal? Well, don't sleep on the MLS for one. Now, we've come out of a really extreme seller's market where finding deals in the MLS is rare, but the MLS is a skill unto itself. In order to develop your skills for finding deals, you need to develop your MLS skills. And this may sound funny, but even something as the type of parameters that you type into MLS sift data in different ways. And if you develop the skill of knowing what parameters to set to help you find good deals, then you'll be able to pull the diamonds in the rough off the MLS. So set up your MLS auto alerts with a similar criteria to what your investors have given you. So, the geographic location, the approximate size, the approximate budget. There's all kinds of creative things you can plug in. You can look only for fixer-upper properties. And again, if you're watching this from another state, your MLS is going to be different, but learn all the parameters in the MLS and how you can use those to your advantage to find a property that could be a good deal. Now, the second way you're going to find good deals is from wholesalers, okay? And if you've watched any of my videos, you should already be getting emails from wholesalers. This is very easy to do. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but all you need to do is go on Facebook real estate investing groups in your area and say, hello, I'm a buyer. This is my email. Send me your deals. You'll get flooded with emails. Now, some of them will be not even legitimate wholesalers. They'll be daisy chaining deals, but you will get some that are legit, right? And you'll be able to tell from the professionalism. You'll be able to tell from if you have people who are closing deals with these wholesalers. But you want at least 3 to 4 legitimate, reputable wholesalers in your market sending you emails so that you can go through these deals, compare them to your spreadsheet, and if your investor likes any of these, then you're going to share it with them. You're going to need to let your investor know that there's going to be a finder's fee on top of the price that the wholesaler is marketing, because the wholesaler is not going to pay you anything. That's why you don't just get your client on the wholesale list, right? You cherry pick them. Otherwise, you would be cut out of the equation. So you've got your spreadsheet, you've got your deals that investors are sending you, and you look through the MLS. Now you're looking through your wholesale deals. Anything that looks good, you can send them the address and send them the specs. You don't have to send them the email that was sent to you. And if that looks like a good deal, you tell them, okay, my finder's fee is $5,000. Does that still work for you? And then you connect them with the wholesaler and go from there. Now, the third way that you can find deals that's underutilized is driving for dollars. This is not a very leveraged approach, but it is very effective. So if someone tells you that they like deals in Decatur, then I can drive around Decatur and look for homes that are distressed. Maybe they look damaged, they look like they're not lived in. It's pretty easy to identify properties that are distressed. Write down the address, so you'll have, I would keep a notebook with you in your car no matter where you're going. You'll have a list of properties that are in the location your investor tells you they're buying in. And then you can go and you can skip trace using the property address, skip trace and get the information of the owner, and you can cold call them and you can legitimately tell them, I have an investor who wants to buy your house. Would you consider selling? It's a little bit labor intensive, but this is a fantastic way to bring off-market deals to your investor clients and have them love you for it. Now, another thing you can do, which may seem obvious, but if you're in those Facebook real estate investing groups, just do a simple in search of post. Just take your client's criteria. You can leave their information out of it, but take their criteria and put in, hey, I'm a buyer. I'm looking for this. And you'll get some people wasting your time, of course, but you may have someone maybe who wasn't even thinking of selling, but I have something exactly like that and I would consider selling. So this is another way you can find off-market properties for your clients. So I just gave you 3 or 4 ways to find great deals for these investor clients. And here's what I want to end with. If you pass along one of these deals to an investor client who told you they're ready to buy, and on paper it looks like it's a great deal, and they don't buy it, you need to understand why. Because if there's no good reason, I would recommend you don't continue to waste your time with this person. Now, if they can tell you, I don't think it's a good deal because I don't agree with your underwriting, your analysis, well, okay, then that makes sense. But use that as an opportunity to change your analysis so that you can be more accurate next time. You should always be growing and moving towards a resolution, which in our case is a closed transaction. You don't want to walk away from any of these situations not knowing why your investor client didn't pull the trigger. Now, one thing I haven't touched on that I realize I probably should is, how do you know if it's a good deal or not, right? Well, that is part of one of the skills that you're going to need to develop, but it's really on the buyer to determine if it's a good enough deal for them. And we've already eliminated a lot of the guesswork, right? We know we're in the right area. We should know we're in the right area. We know we're in the right budget range. We know we're in the right property type in terms of type and size. So, right there, it just comes down to the matter of what can you acquire it for? What will it cost to improve? And what can you rent it out for? Or what could you sell it for if the intention is to flip? Those are really the only metrics needed to determine if it's a good deal or not. Now, you do want to ask, and this is where you go deep with the deals that they've done in the past, what do they like to factor in for vacancy? What do they like to factor in for capital expenditures? What do they like to factor in for just normal maintenance? Will they be using a property manager? If so, you need to factor in 10% roughly of the monthly gross income for a property manager. So the investor should be able to help you analyze the deals that you're looking at for them, right? They should tell you how they're analyzing it so that you know how to analyze it. This is a great way to develop that skill. So there it is, y'all, the meat and potatoes of how to find deals for your investor clients as a realtor. I love working with investors, but there are a lot of pitfalls that you need to avoid. Your time can be massively wasted, and don't do what I did, which is spend hours and hours each day looking in random places for what I thought could possibly be a good deal, and then I find a home run, or at least it is in my mind, and no one's interested in even looking at it, right? There's a lot of breakdowns on both sides of the transaction and why that happens. That's why you need to take control of your initial meetings. You need to vet them. You need to screen or filter them. You need to only be working with investors who have closed deals, who are ready to close deals with you. And you need to understand the criteria perfectly. There can't be any guesswork. There can't be any ambiguity. You need to understand what they're looking for and where they're looking, and you need to find them a similar deal. If you can do that, there's a high probability that they will buy it, and that they will continue to use you as their agent. And I'm telling you, this is an invaluable skill. If you have a roster of, let's say, 10 investor clients who are ready to buy, I mean, you can be closing deals left and right. They will buy as many as you bring them, I promise you. But you have to know what to bring them, and you have to bring them to the right people. So I hope that provided you value. If you have any questions about working with investors, just reach out to me. Check out my previous videos. There is pure gold in there for attracting investor leads. It leads through YouTube. Seriously, everything you need to get more leads is in previous videos that I made, so make sure you go check them out. Thank you for watching my channel, and I'll see you next time.